Amazing transformation. Grandmother reveals hidden strength after being called worthless. Irma stood behind the counter at the Maple Leaf Diner, her hands expertly flipping pancakes, the scent of sizzling bacon filling the air. She greeted her regulars with a warm smile, her heart always swelling with pride when she saw familiar faces. But everything changed that morning when a voice pierced the usual banter. A loud, rude customer. "You're worthless, old woman. Can't even remember my order." The word struck her like a knife, leaving her breathless. For a moment, time stood still as the world narrowed to that one hurtful comment. It echoed in her mind, resurrecting buried doubts and fears as if her whole existence was meaningless. Irma had fought hard her entire life, raising 3 children alone after losing her husband, turning the diner into a haven for families in their small Midwestern town. The reality was that she did feel weary, and the weight of disappointment wrapped around her heart. Her daughter was neck-deep in student loans, grappling with an unforgiving corporate ladder. Her son had lost the only job he knew, drifting aimlessly like a ship without a sail. And her younger child wrestled with anxiety that seemed to shadow him everywhere. Family dinners turned into silent standoffs, love buried under sighs of frustration and unspoken words. Irma felt herself retreating, a shadow of the vibrant woman she once was. Then, just when things couldn't get worse, disaster struck. A devastating fire ripped through the family restaurant, the flames consuming not just walls but the very essence of their lives. Irma's dreams turned to ash, each ember a reminder of the choices she had made and sacrifices she had borne. As she stood in the smoldering ruins the morning after, the weight on her shoulders felt unbearable. The moment came when she thought about giving up. But a flicker of resilience ignited within her, fueled by the echoes of the community that surrounded her. A group of local veterans, who knew about rising from the ashes, stepped forward to help. Together, they rolled up their sleeves, laying bricks and painting walls with fierce determination. Irma felt a shift. Courage blossomed in the cracks of despair. She tapped into her hidden talents, organizing a fundraiser that would bring everyone together. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The night of the community event arrived, and the air was thick with anticipation. Irma took the stage, her heart racing as she picked up the microphone. A wave of silence fell over the crowd. She closed her eyes and began to sing, her voice a haunting melody that encompassed grief, hope, and rediscovered strength. As the notes wrapped around her, she could see her children in the crowd, eyes wide with awe as they witnessed their mother showing the world just how much she was capable of. In that moment, Irma became more than just a waitress, she became a beacon of hope for her family and town. Faces softened, tears glistened, and understanding began to blossom in the hearts of those who had almost lost their way. As her heartfelt performance came to an end, people erupted into applause, the loudest clapping coming from her own kids, realizing the spirit of their mother was unbreakable. But questions hung in the air. Could Irma's newfound strength withstand the challenges ahead? And could her family finally heal the wounds that had almost torn them apart? As the crowd cheered, the weight of uncertainty lingered, leaving everyone eager to know what lies ahead for the resilient Irma and her family. As the applause faded, Irma felt her heart swell. She stepped off the stage, her hands trembling with adrenaline and gratitude. The crowd's warmth enveloped her, and for the first time in what felt like ages, her fears seemed to dissipate like the mist in the morning sun. "Mom, that was incredible," her daughter, Mia, exclaimed, rushing to her side. Tears shimmered in Mia's eyes, and Irma's heart skipped a beat at the sight. The burden that often shadowed their conversations felt lighter now. This was what connection looked like, raw and unfiltered. "I thank you, sweetheart," Irma replied, pulling Mia into a tight embrace. As they stood there, Irma could feel the warmth of renewed hope coursing through her. But her son, Ethan, lingered just a few steps behind, his expression unreadable. Irma released Mia and turned to Ethan, searching his face for signs of approval. What did you think, honey? Ethan hesitated before responding, hands shoved into his pockets. It was different. Not what I expected, he said, his words a mix of surprise and uncertainty. Different can be good. Mia shot back, a hint of annoyance in her tone. Look at the crowd. They love her. Irma watched the exchange, the mixed emotions flooding back. She wanted to reach out to her son, to tell him she understood the struggles he faced, but a wall seemed to stand between them, invisible yet impenetrable. The lingering doubts she had, although softened by her performance, sprang back to life. Let us celebrate, Irma said, attempting to bridge the gap. I'll make pancakes for dinner just like old times. Maybe later, Ethan replied and faded back into the crowd. It felt like a punch to her heart. She could only watch as he disappeared into conversations, laughter, and smiles, moments where she wished he would seek her out instead. That evening, after the event wound down and people went home, Irma sat with Mia at the diner. They pored over the donations they had received, counting bills and coins amongst heartfelt stories shared by patrons who reminisced about their favorite moments at the diner. Look, Mom, Mia said, her eyes brightening. This is more than we expected. We can rebuild. And yet, the burden of uncertainty hung over Irma like a cloud. It's just the beginning, but what if people don't come back once the new place opens? What if I fail again? Mom, what you did up there tonight? That was magic. You've already shown everyone that Maple Leaf is more than just a diner. It's a part of us, Mia replied, a hint of admiration threading through her voice. As they talked, something inside Irma stirred. Maybe she could do this. Maybe her voice could weave a tapestry of connection not just with her family, but within the community as well. If only she could reach Ethan. In the quiet moments afterward, a plan started to take shape. What if we host open mic nights? You could help me organize it, she said, the excitement bubbling like fresh batter in a pan. Really? Mia's eyes lit up. Yeah, we can even invite local musicians. It could bring everyone together. For the first time, the vision felt clear, vibrant, and full of potential. As they finalized plans, Irma's heart swelled with a fierce determination. This could be her chance to reconnect with her children, to show Ethan that he was not alone. But still, the fear crept back. Was it enough? With a renewed sense of purpose, she looked at Mia, a smile breaking through her doubt. Let us do this. Meanwhile, in a corner of the diner, Ethan watched his mother with a mix of curiosity and concern. He sensed a change in her, yet he felt himself holding back. What if he couldn't meet her expectations? Could this open mic night bridge the gap between all three of them? As Irma and Mia brainstormed in spirited whispers, the question hung unspoken in the air: was Irma about to uncover a new kind of magic that could heal their family? The storm inside Ethan swirled, and his choice loomed ahead. What would he do now, knowing what lay ahead? The next morning, the sunlight streamed through the diner windows, casting soft golden rays over the familiar tables and booths. Irma stood in the kitchen, preparing breakfast as the smell of sizzling bacon mixed with fresh coffee. Each sizzle seemed to tap out a rhythm, a beat that lifted her spirits. Today was the day to put the plan into motion. Mia, can you help me? She called, eager to draw her daughter into the excitement of the open mic night preparations. Coming. Mia rushed into the kitchen, her hair tousled but her smile wide and bright. What's the plan? Irma turned, the spatula in her hand like a conductor's baton. We need to make flyers, spread the word. This can be the start of something big. Mia nodded enthusiastically. They launched into a flurry of activity, cutting colorful paper, doodling cheerful music notes, and crafting catchy phrases about the upcoming event. The air was electric with possibility, their laughter mingling with the clinking of dishes. In the midst of the preparations, Irma couldn't shake the memory of Ethan's face from last night. What do you think Ethan will say about it all? She asked, pausing for a moment. Mom, he'll come around, Mia replied, her voice steady. He just needs some time to see what this can be. I know he cares. I hope you're right, Irma said, but her heart remained uneasy. She poured the last of the batter into the pan before flipping it, the rhythm temporarily soothing her worries. Later that afternoon, they set out to distribute the flyers around town. Irma's heart raced with hope. Would this be the event that drew everyone together? As they walked, Mia skipped ahead, engaging with everyone they passed, her excitement brightening the otherwise quiet streets. Irma felt a swell of pride looking at her daughter, longing for that same spark in Ethan. Their last stop was the local park. People mingled, children played, and the sound of laughter filled the air. Irma took a deep breath, summoning courage. "Why don't we set up a little booth?" she suggested, motioning to a wide-open space under a big oak tree. "We can talk to people about the open mic and even grab a few volunteers." Mia's eyes lit up. "Great idea. Let us do it." Setting up their makeshift booth felt exhilarating. As locals strolled by, Irma shared her vision for the open mic night and the revival of the diner. It wasn't long before she found herself smiling, the anticipation building as she shared her excitement. But then, a shadow passed over her. Ethan stood at the edge of the park, arms crossed, a skeptical look plastered across his face. Irma's heart dropped at the sight. "Ethan!" she called, unable to hold back her eagerness. The warmth of the crowd faded as he stepped closer, his expression still unreadable. "Hi, Mom," he said coolly, though his tone lacked the resistance she had expected. "What are you doing?" "We're telling everyone about the open mic night," Irma replied, her voice infused with enthusiasm. "It's going to be amazing, Ethan. You'll see. You should be there." "Yeah, I know," he replied, his gaze flicking away. I don't know if it's going to work." Mia chimed in, "But you'll want to support us, right? It's not just about the diner. It's about coming together as a community." Ethan glanced around, uncertainty shadowing his eyes. "I guess I'll think about it," he said quietly and turned to walk away. Irma felt her spirits plummet. "Ethan, wait," she called after him. "Please, I could really use your help after everything that has happened." He turned back, eyes narrowed and brows furrowed. "What if I let you down, Mom?" The question hung in the air, heavy with unspoken fear. Irma took a step closer, holding his gaze. "You wouldn't. You're stronger than you think. We're in this together." Ethan's expression softened for just a moment, and Irma saw a flicker of hope behind the storm. But then he looked away again, and just like that, he disappeared into the crowd. Irma's heart sank deep into her chest. She turned to Mia, who was watching with concern. "What if he's right? What if we fail again?" "Failing is part of trying, Mom," Mia reassured her. "But what if this works? What if it brings us all closer?" Irma nodded slowly, the possibility echoing in her heart. As they packed up to leave the park, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Could the open mic night mend the cracks in their family? Would it be the catalyst for change they all needed? The weight of uncertainty lingered in the air like a final note faded after a song. Little did Irma know, Ethan stood just beyond the park, wrestling with his own thoughts, contemplating a choice that could change everything. Would he step forward or stay in the shadows? The next morning felt different for Irma. Sunlight streamed in through the diner windows again, but today it stirred something deeper within her. After a sleepless night of tossing and turning, she found herself more determined than ever. Today was not just about the diner, it was about family, healing, and hope. "Mia, are you ready?" Irma called, standing in front of the mirror, giving her hair a last comb. The thought of the open mic night had transformed from a simple plan into a beacon of possibility. She couldn't help but wonder how Ethan was feeling today after their exchange yesterday. Her heart clenched. "Just finishing up." Mia's voice came from the back of the diner. Irma took a moment to breathe deeply, the smell of coffee swirling in the air. She could feel the nervous anticipation tightening her chest, but she also felt a flicker of excitement as well. Once Mia was dressed and ready, they headed to the diner to prepare for lunch service. The diner's familiar sounds wrapped around them like an old blanket, the sizzling skillet, the clinking of glasses, the chatter of regulars. With every passing moment, Irma's resolve solidified. She would make this work, no matter what. As the afternoon unfolded, with tables filled and laughter bouncing around the room, Irma decided it was time to once again try connecting with Ethan. She needed him to see how important this was, not just for her but for all of them. "Hey, I'm thinking about inviting Ethan for dinner tonight," Irma suggested, her eyes meeting Mia's. "What do you think?" Mia's cheerfulness dimmed momentarily. "Do you think he'll come?" Irma nodded, even though her heart was uncertain. "I have to try. If we're going to make this work, we need to be a family again. He needs to see how much we believe in this." That evening, she set the table with care, each setting a promise that dinner would be a moment to mend. The scent of roast chicken filled the air, and with every aromatic waft, Irma felt a little lighter, a step closer to healing her family. Mia was buzzing with anticipation. "He's coming, Mom. I feel it." She was practically bouncing on her toes, hoping to rekindle the spark of enthusiasm she often saw in her brother. When Ethan arrived, he stood at the door for a moment, uncertainty etched on his face. Irma's breath caught, his eyes scanned the room, almost searching for a reason to turn back. Yet she saw it too, the glimmer of hope beneath his guarded demeanor. "Hi," he said too quietly as he stepped inside. "Hey, Ethan. We saved you a seat," Irma replied, her voice steady but her heart racing. She motioned toward the table, and after a flicker of hesitation, he joined them. The three of them gathered around the table. The food was delicious but the atmosphere charged with unspoken words. Irma felt each moment stretch, the silence weighed against her. "You know, we're really excited about the open mic night," Mia broke the ice, her voice full of eagerness. "I heard," he replied, his face softening as he glanced at her. "Sounds interesting." Irma pushed through, her heartbeat quickening. "I want you to help us. I want you to be a part of it, Ethan." He looked up, his expression flickering. "Why would I? What if it doesn't work? What if people don't care?" "Because they do care," Mia said passionately. "This isn't just a night for music, it's a connection. It's about us, about being together." Ethan studied the food on his plate, the weight of their words hanging like a heavy blanket. Irma reached out, placing her hand on his. "We're not just asking you as a brother, but as a family. We need you to believe in us." He took a slow, deep breath, and in that moment, Irma saw a flicker of something. Was it hope? Was it starting to break through the walls he had built? The night rolled on, laughter and stories unfolding like a tapestry, each thread stitching them closer together. But somewhere between the course of a meal and shared jokes, Irma noticed that while Ethan was there, he still seemed distant, a storm brewing behind his eyes. As they cleared the table, a thought struck her. Would the art of vulnerability be enough to reach him? Would their lingering fears shatter or mold something new? "Ethan?" Irma called as he turned to leave. "Please, just think about it. Think about what we can build together." He paused at the door, shoulders slumping slightly as he looked back. What if it all falls apart again? That question echoed in the space between them, filled with unspoken fears and what-ifs. In that moment, as uncertainty hung thick in the air, Irma wondered if the evening had changed anything at all. Had she broken through? Or were they still standing on the precipice of fear? Little did they know that the true musical notes of their family's story were just beginning to play. What would it take for Ethan to find his place in the rhythm? Irma couldn't shake Ethan's words from her mind as she moved about the diner, wiping down tables and stacking dishes. The clatter of plates echoed in the background, mingling with the sounds of laughter and chatter. But even amidst it all, she felt an unsettling silence settle over her heart. What if he was right? What if everything did fall apart again? Mia, bustling with youthful optimism, kept chattering about the details for the open mic night. "I want to sing my favorite song, Mom. You know, the one with the big high note at the end." Her excitement was palpable, and Irma couldn't help but smile. It was contagious. Yet, she couldn't escape the gnawing fear for her son. Later that evening, in the quiet of their small home, Irma sat on the couch, trying to push past her doubts. "Mia," she called softly. Can you go grab my guitar? Mia's eyes sparkled with curiosity. Are you going to play us a song? Just trust me, Irma said, a small smile on her lips. Mia hurried off, and soon returned, guitar in hand, her face glowing with anticipation. Once the guitar was nestled comfortably in Irma's lap, she strummed a few tentative chords. Each note as shaky as her confidence. She took a deep breath, remembering a song her grandmother used to sing, a song full of hope and resilience. Here's one for all of us, she started, her voice trembling slightly. As the melody rose and fell, she poured out her heart into the music, feeling it weave through her worries, enveloping the room in warmth. Mia listened intently, a smile slowly creeping across her face. Her little fingers tapped along on her thigh, feeling the rhythm. Irma caught her daughter's eye. At that moment, it felt as if the world outside had faded. Just the two of them. When the last notes faded into the air, Mia jumped up. That was amazing, Mom. You should sing this at the open mic. Irma chuckled, a genuine smile breaking through the shadows of doubt. Maybe I will, but I was thinking more along the lines of a duet. Mia's eyes sparkled. Can we? Please? I'll put glitter on my face. As they began planning, Irma felt something shift inside her. Maybe that was it, the connection, the spark they had all been missing. But as she drifted off to sleep that night, she could still feel the chill in her heart at the thought of Ethan's hesitation to join them. The fear of what could happen still hung in the air like a storm cloud. The next morning dawned bright and clear, as if the universe was offering them a fresh start. Irma found herself at the diner early, tucking in freshly baked pastries and brewing coffee. Whiffs of cinnamon carried through the otherwise quiet room, and she basked in the familiarity. Then, inspired by her late-night revelation, she decided to leave a little note at Ethan's place, inviting him not just to participate in the open mic, but to share a song that had been meaningful to him. Ethan, it read, sometimes the things we fear the most can lead us back to what we truly love. Let us find our way together. She folded the note neatly and slid it into an envelope. Just as she placed it on the counter, Ethan stepped through the door, his expression uncertain yet curious. Hey, he said, looking at her with a mix of surprise and trepidation. Ethan. Irma felt a flutter of nerves. I was just thinking about you. Can we talk? As Ethan approached, the air thickened with unspoken words. Irma could feel her heart racing, every hope and fear colliding into one moment. What would he say? I saw the note, Mom. What do you mean? He asked, his voice laced with uncertainty. Irma took a deep breath, ready to open not just her heart but also a door to a once-lost connection. Would this finally be the moment they bridged the gap, or would it lead to another rupture? Upon meeting his gaze, she felt the weight of everything they had lived through pressing around them, and she realized that this could be the moment everything changed. But would it? The possibilities danced in the air between them, as they stood on the precipice of a long-awaited conversation, a journey back to family. Trust, and maybe, just maybe, the rhythm of a new beginning. Irma steadied herself, feeling the warmth of Ethan's presence seep into her resolve. I mean, she started slowly, letting the nerves tumble in her chest. I want us to do this together. The open mic. It's not just about music, it's about finding our way back to each other. Ethan shifted his weight nervously, his fingers tracing the edge of the counter. You really think we can? He looked down, the shadows of doubt still clinging to him like a heavy coat. Yes, I do. Irma's voice was firm now, steady. She leaned closer, her heart pounding with a mix of hope and fear. I know it won't be easy. But we've been through so much. Maybe sharing what we love can bring us back to each other. For a moment, an echo of silence hung between them. Irma's heart thudded loudly in her ears as she searched his face for signs of acceptance. It was a fragile moment, one that could sway in any direction. Ethan's gaze lifted, meeting hers. There was a flicker of something, possibly acceptance, maybe even a hint of yearning buried deep within. What would we even sing? He asked, the corners of his mouth lifting just slightly, revealing the boy she remembered. Whatever resonates with us, she replied eagerly. It could be a song from our childhood or something that reminds us of the good times. The ones we loved. A laugh bubbled at the back of her throat, and she felt a hint of nostalgia at the thought of a world where they were whole again. That he stood silent, the gears in his mind turning. Irma could only hope that he was willing to take that leap of faith with her. She dared to dream for a moment, picturing them on stage, side by side, the audience swaying to their harmony. Okay, he finally spoke, a softness creeping into his voice. Maybe I could pick a song too. But if we do this, it has to be real. No pretending. No hiding. Irma's breath caught in her throat. Of course. No masks, just us. As she searched his eyes, something shifted in Ethan. The turmoil she saw a moment ago melted away, replaced by a glimmer of hope. They stood on the edge of a delicate truce, a chance to reconnect against the backdrop of old rhythms and new beginnings. Over the next few days, their routine shifted. They began to talk about music, sharing memories and laughter over cups of coffee. Irma's heart felt lighter each time they interacted. She wondered if they were finally rebuilding what had seemed shattered forever. Mia, quickly adapting to the familial transition, chimed in often with her enthusiasm. We're gonna blow them away at the open mic, Mom. Just wait and see. Her excited chatter acted as the glue holding them together, a promise of potential. However, just as those joyful moments began to bloom, Ethan dropped a bombshell. One evening, he looked at Irma, the tension clear in his posture, and said, I've been thinking I'm not sure if I can stay here for long. Her stomach dropped. What do you mean? Ethan hesitated, swallowing hard as words danced on the tip of his tongue. I have an opportunity to move abroad for a while for work. It could be a fresh start. Irma's breath caught, the warmth of connection fading instantly. The idea of losing him again felt as suffocating as a winter's breath. When? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The ground beneath her shifted, and she struggled to keep her footing. Soon. There's just so much at stake. The weight of his words crashed down on her. A familiar fear washed over her like a tide, pulling her deeper into anxiety. Would they really have a chance? Could they bridge this gap between them, or was this a fleeting moment before another goodbye? As Ethan watched her process the news, she could see threads of hesitation clinging to him, an uncertainty that mirrored her own. Was love and music going to be enough to hold them together amidst the looming storm? With that question hanging heavily in the air between them, Irma realized they were once again at a crossroads. The open mic awaited them, but would they step into the light or walk further into shadows? A shared song could change everything. But if he left, could they ever truly find their way back? Irma stared at Ethan, a whirlwind of emotions crashing around her. How could he think of leaving now? Didn't he see how close they were to something beautiful? The thought of an empty home without him loomed like a heavy fog, suffocating and cold. Can't we at least try this? She implored, her voice trembling slightly. We've come so far, Ethan. Just a little longer, please. He looked away, wrestling with whatever demons still haunted him. Irma stepped closer, her heart aching for the man she loved. I thought we were going to fight for this for us. I know, he replied, his voice strained. But what if it's not enough? Maybe it's better to go, to start fresh without dragging all this baggage with me. The word baggage felt like a knife. Irma's fists tightened at her side. Is that what you think we are? Just a mess of problems? No. It's not like that, he replied quickly, frustration and desperation blending in his tone. And it's not just about us. It's my career, my future. And what about ours? The words flew out of her mouth before she could catch them. The silence that followed was thick with unsaid things. They were both scared, lost in the weight of possibilities. Mia's laughter sliced through the tension. She bounded into the room, her bright smile lighting up the dim atmosphere. Hey, I heard you guys talking about the open mic. I think you should practice together. Irma managed a smile for Mia, but her heart was still heavy. Seeing her daughter so full of hope made it harder to crumble in front of Ethan. What song should we practice? Mia jumped up, her eyes sparkling. How about that one you love, Lean on Me? It's so perfect. Ethan's brows furrowed as he glanced at Irma. That song, it's more about friendship, isn't it? Exactly, she replied, her mind racing. That's what we need, Ethan. A reminder of how strong we can be together. Even when things get tough. We've leaned on each other before. Ethan fell silent, fighting his inner turmoil. Mia bounced around them, humming a few bars of the song, unaware of the gravity of the conversation. Irma felt an urge to reach out, to grasp the moment before it slipped through her fingers. This is our chance to remind ourselves that we can be there for each other, no matter what. That we're not worthless, we're a family. The weight in Ethan's eyes softened at that, but the doubt was still lurking. What happens if it doesn't work out? What then? Feeling the tremor in her voice, she pressed on. Then we keep trying. We don't give up, not when we've made it this far. This can be a new beginning if you want it to be. Mia finished humming, looking expectantly between the two of them. The air was thick with possibility. Okay, Ethan finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. Let us try it. But if I do this, I need to know you'll fight for us too. A rush of warmth spread through Irma. I promise, she murmured, aware that there was so much at stake. As they sat down together to practice, Mia's laughter filled the room, providing a comforting backdrop to their tentative attempts to connect. But with every note, Irma felt the unsteady ground beneath them. What if this song opened their hearts? Or what if it only served as a reminder of everything that could break them again? The open mic was just a few days away. Could they truly transform their lives with music? Would they step out into that light or fade back into the shadows? And just as she thought she had solid footing, a new thought pierced through. Was Ethan's upcoming move really still unavoidable, or could love be the anchor they needed? Sitting on the worn-out couch, Irma's fingers gently traced the edges of a frayed cushion. She could hear Mia humming softly while Ethan tuned his guitar, the familiar sound mixing oddly with the tension in the air. Every strum seemed to resonate in both their hearts. Ready? Ethan asked, though his voice lacked conviction. Mia looked at them eagerly, her eyes sparkling with unfiltered excitement. Let us do this. I can't wait to hear you sing together. Irma nodded, trying to channel her nerves into something more tangible, a focus on the song instead of the uncertainty hanging over them like a storm cloud. Okay, just follow my lead, she said, her heart racing as she inhaled deeply. The first verse floated into the living room, their voices overlapping in a hesitant harmony. As the words took shape, Irma felt the weight of their struggles start to lift, if only for a moment. She poured her heart into the melody, bearing part of her soul through each line. Ethan watched her, and for a flickering instant, sadness washed away the doubt in his eyes. He began to sing louder, his confidence shining through. Mia clapped her hands, her laughter brightening the moment, wrapping around them like a warm embrace, but just as laughter flowed, so did vulnerability. The song carried an undercurrent of truth. Irma could feel it pulling at them, a reminder of everything they had been through and everything still hanging in the balance. If we lean on each other, we won't fall, she sang softly, almost as if she were casting a spell. Ethan startled at her vulnerability. He paused, his voice faltering as his mind wandered. What if he began, then hesitated? The question was heavy and they both knew it. Don't think about that right now, Irma urged, her heart racing. Think about the music. Each note counts, this is our moment. Yeah. Mia chimed in, bouncing on her toes, urging them to keep going. Taking a deep breath, Ethan nodded and they resumed, pouring their hearts into the chorus. It was messy, raw, but somehow perfect all at once. As the song came to an end, Irma felt a small flicker of hope ignite. Their spirits felt lighter, even if just slightly. See? She whispered, beaming at Ethan. Together, we have something beautiful. He smiled back, but it didn't fully reach his eyes. Just for tonight? He asked, almost too quietly. Irma swallowed hard. No, Ethan. It has to be more than that. This can be the start of something, but you have to believe it too. And what if it fails? He replied, despair slipping back into his voice, threatening to drown out the hope they had kindled. Then we'll pick ourselves back up, she replied fiercely. You can't give up on us before we start fighting, Ethan. At that moment, something shifted. Mia approached, her small hand gripping Ethan's arm. You don't need to be scared. We can do this, right? Together. The warmth of Mia's words warmed Ethan's heart. But it still didn't extinguish his doubts. He dropped his gaze to the floor, the uncertainty overwhelming him. Maybe I need to think, he trailed off, looking trapped again. No more thinking. Just feel. Irma pleaded, desperation creeping in. As they all sat there, the silence grew heavier. Irma's heart raced with the crushing weight of unvoiced fears. Would Ethan really walk away? A knock shattered the stillness. They all jumped, and Irma's stomach dropped. Who could it be? Mia rushed to the door. I'll get it. With each step Mia took, Irma felt a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Was this someone to help or to bring more chaos? Before Mia reached for the handle, Irma's heart raced with unease. What if this knock changed everything again? What if it was the sign of a new beginning or perhaps the end? With the door slowly creaking open, Irma felt every heartbeat echoing in her chest, unsure of what would come next. Mia's small hand pulled the door fully open, and Irma's breath hitched in her throat. Standing on the other side was a figure she hadn't expected. Felicia, their neighbor, stood there, a look of concern etched across her face. Her wild, curly hair framed her features like a halo, but the warmth that usually enveloped her felt dampened by a seriousness that made Irma instinctively take a step back. Hey, is everything okay? Felicia asked, her voice soft yet probing as her eyes darted between the three of them. Irma couldn't find the words just yet. Her heart raced as the interior of their home felt more like a fragile bubble ready to burst. We were just, she started, but Ethan cut in. We were practicing music, he said, the hint of uncertainty seeping back into his voice, overshadowing Irma's initial spark of hope. Felicia's eyebrows knitted together. I heard you through the walls. It sounded beautiful, but then I heard some tension. Are you three all right? Irma glanced at Ethan, who looked like he was being laced with doubt once again. Her instinct was to reassure him, to show their neighbor that they were okay even when that felt like a lie. But Felicia's presence was like a lifeline, stirring something within Irma. Actually, she began, finding strength in her voice, we're at a crossroads. Trying to figure out what's next. Well, don't let me barge in, Felicia said, a playful smile tugging at her lips even as her eyes remained serious. But I've been there, you know. It's easy to feel lost. Music can help, but it's the connection between you that really matters. Irma felt the truth of those words seep into her doubt. You really think so? Absolutely. Felicia took a step closer, urging them into a circle of warmth and understanding. I've seen communities bound by melodies, even when the lyrics seem to fade away. People gather, they share their fears and hopes through their songs. There's something transformative in that. As Felicia spoke, Irma noticed Ethan's shoulders loosening, if only slightly. The burden he carried seemed a little lighter in the glow of Felicia's belief. Mia piped up, her bright spirit shining through the moment. Can we sing together? That would be so fun. Felicia's eyes lit up. That's the spirit. Let us turn this moment into a song that can anchor you. Irma could feel Ethan's gaze faltering between hope and fear again. But something about Felicia's would-be magic pushed against the storm inside of him. He took a breath, his fingers curling a bit tighter around the guitar neck. Okay, what do you think? He asked, a slight tremor still lingering in his voice. We can try, Irma replied, her heart blooming with cautious optimism. It's just a song. No pressure. Felicia stepped back, her energy pulsing like that of a drumbeat. All right, let me hear you all, whatever you feel drawn to. She leaned against the doorframe, giving them space yet remaining close. with Mia's infectious energy guiding them, they huddled together. Irma caught a glimpse of Ethan. Maybe the flicker of doubt still danced behind his eyes, but now there was something brightening his spirit too. They took a breath, and with the first strum of the guitar, Irma felt the surge of something deep and unspoken flow through them. The song they began was simple, yet it poured their feelings out, creating a web of connection that wrapped around them. Each note rang loud and true, echoing the heartbeat of their shared fears and unbreakable hopes. As they lost themselves in the music, Irma could almost see the way their doubts began to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. For the first time in a long while, they were not alone, but as the last notes faded, the tension loomed stronger than ever. Will this be enough? Ethan wondered aloud, breaking the moment's spell. What do you think our next step should be? Irma asked, her voice barely above a whisper, revealing the cracks of uncertainty that still laced her heart. Just then, another knock echoed through the air, a harder, more urgent tapping this time, leaving them all on edge. What could possibly await them? Just beyond the door now? As the knock on the door echoed through the diner, Irma froze, her heart pounding. She shared a glance with Ethan and Mia, uncertainty rippling between them. The moment hung thick in the air. All of them held their breath. Who could it be now? Irma murmured, lacking the courage to check. Mia's enthusiasm, usually bubbly, turned silent. Should I go? She queried, her voice barely a whisper. Let us see, Ethan said, a newfound determination in his tone. He stepped forward, reaching for the handle. When he opened the door, a gust of cool air swept in, carrying with it the presence of Frank, the diner's biggest supporter. Frank's face lit up with joy when he spotted them. Hello, friends. You won't believe the news. Irma's heart raced again. Frank had a knack for planting seeds of hope. What is it? She asked, bracing for something special. Word's spreading about your open mic night. I just left the local radio station, and they're going to promote it. Live. Ethan raised an eyebrow, confusion flickering briefly across his features. Really? Yes. It'll be a big deal. It's time our town rallied behind a family that means so much to us. Irma felt warmth bloom in her chest. The pressure of everything lost hopes, sharp doubts began to lift just as the excitement took root. That's amazing. Mia squealed. See, Mom? People really care. Ethan hesitated before stepping back, leaning against the doorframe as if it could offer him the stability he sought. But what if we mess it all up? Frank smiled knowingly. We won tea. Just remember, it's about the journey. Gather your courage, share your truth, and let the music flow. Irma felt a wave of clarity sweep over her as she met Ethan's gaze, willing him to see the light. He's right, Ethan. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be ours. Mia cheered, this is going to be epic. With each word she spoke, vitality washed over them like sunlight breaking through the clouds. The urgency of the moment burned away lingering doubts. Irma turned to Ethan. Can we let go? For tonight, can we believe in the beauty of what we can create? Ethan's brow furrowed, yet the weight of his shoulders seemed to ease. Okay. Let us do it together. The decision felt monumental, sending ripples of energy through their small circle. Later that evening, the diner filled up with familiar faces and new visitors lured by Frank's announcement. As they took their place on stage, the atmosphere buzzed with warmth and anticipation. Irma took a moment to breathe in the supportive energy of the crowd, feeling the love envelop her. Tonight is about connection, she began, her heart swelling as she stood before everyone. It's about family and finding courage in each other. Mia chimed in, her childish spirit making everyone laugh. And if we mess up, we redo it. Right? The laughter in the crowd felt electric, igniting Irma's confidence as she strummed the first chords of their chosen song. They sang together, voices weaving a tapestry of joy and vulnerability, building a bridge back to one another. Ethan, his earlier doubts lost to the melody, found comfort in harmony. The earlier hesitations melted away as he began to smile at Mia, who danced with delight at her mother's side. Each struggle and hardship seemed to float away, replaced by laughter and connection. The crowd swayed in rhythm, a wave of support rolling back and forth, a family come together in solidarity. As they finished their song with triumphant laughter, a roar of applause erupted, each clap resonating in Irma's heart like the beat of a drum. This was hope reborn. Glancing at Ethan, she saw a glimmer of what lay ahead. Now united, he too felt the warmth of possibility. He turned to her, his eyes sparkling. Tonight was incredible. I think we found something strong. Tears sprang to Irma's eyes, and they embraced deep, healing, open. They would face whatever came next together, without fear. Their journey was just beginning, and already it felt like the start of something beautiful. Irma glanced out into the crowded diner, the laughter echoing all around. She accepted that. Each path would not always be smooth, but together, they could navigate it all. The shadows had receded, all that remained was gratitude, hope, and a family ready to shine. As the diner's energy swirled around them, the music, laughter, and warmth, Irma knew deep in her heart that they had not only found their way back to each other but had stepped boldly into a future marked by love. This was the moment. If you're inspired by this story of transformation and family, you need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive tales. Hit that like button to fuel the algorithm and support the dream. Comment below with your own reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this transformative story with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey. Together, we can shine brighter.